Welcome to the Best of IPMAT series for Verbal. We're going to be taking a look at a few interesting questions from previous year papers. These questions are interesting because you will get to learn some of the rules that you need to know in order to solve the questions, and you'll also realize that even though the question looks complicated, once you know these rules, it's actually fairly simple. Let's get started. Now, I would recommend that you pause the video here and try to solve the question on your own. While it may appear simple to get to the right answer, I also want you to reason your way through the process and make sure that you understand the grammar rule that this question is testing. So this question says, due to the progress in the field of modern medicine and advances in nutrition and hygiene, less people die every year from infectious diseases than ever before. When I read a sentence correction question, I should realize that while the underlined part is important, I do still need to understand the overall meaning of the sentence. So make sure that you do read the entire sentence. However, when you look at the underlined part, see if you can spot the error. One of the worst ways to solve such questions is to read each option and figure out which one sounds right. And that is also fairly time consuming. Since we know that time is of the essence, let's not use that strategy. When you look at this, you should be able to notice two things about this. These words, less and then. Now, if you're able to spot these errors, then the answer is very easy. Nevertheless, we do need to understand why this question has been presented. First of all, we use few or fewer for countable nouns. Countable nouns are those to which you can attach a number. For example, I can say 1 pencil, 2 books, 3 people. These are all countable nouns. But less or lesser is generally used for something that is not countable. We can measure it, but we cannot attach a number to it. So here we are talking about people, which means that we should not be saying less people. We should obviously be saying fewer people. So this rule will help you eliminate a few options very easily. The second word over here is then. Clearly, we are looking at a comparison, so we should not be using then, we should be using than. Once you figure this out, then the answer, as I said, is very, very simple. Let's take a look at our options. Now, the first option has the word fewer, but it also uses the word then instead of than. So that cannot be our answer. Option B says less people. This is a problem on its own. This cannot be our answer. Option C says fewer people die every year from infectious diseases than ever before. So it has corrected the two original errors. Now, unfortunately, option D also has corrected both the original errors. So how are options C and D different? A lot of times, they might sneak in another tiny error somewhere else, which you might not notice in your first reading. Now, if you look at D, the word that they have snuck in is have. If you look at the tense of the sentence, we are saying that something happens every year. It is a recurrent thing. And usually for such events, we should use the simple present tense. So when it says fewer people die every year, die is the simple present tense. There is no reason for us to say have ever before. When we say have ever before, it is equal to saying have died, which is not the simple present, it is the present perfect tense. But even if you can't solve it this way, all we need to know that if it is not broken, don't fix it. If the original question or sentence does not really have an error, why should we try to change it in the first place? So between C and D, we should eliminate D and pick C as our answer.